New Zealand Rugby have announced $19.5 million loss. They're kind of celebrating that they've almost achieved a break even and they've lost $19 million.
Are you guys broke as well? I thought it was just us.
PSG look really dangerous. They look more of a team than they have done with the likes of Messi and
superstars,
and Neymar. They look like a cohesive unit.
Just mark the moment. It was today, May the 8th, that I confidently predicted the Warriors will make the 8.
They're 6-2. It's not a bold pick.
Welcome to the DSPN.
He's given him. Oh, there you go. He was forward.
Oh, a punch up now in midfield. Fraser's involved.
The Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast, people. Podcast/show, the DSPN, out every afternoon on Rover, Spotify, Apple, Google Play. That's the full podcast version. That's the audio version only. As far as the radio with pictures version, the DSPN YouTube channel, well, we slice and dice and put it in little bite-sized chunks for you. Thank you very much for supporting us. As far as the YouTube channel goes, if you can hit that subscribe button, it does really help. We're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers. We're knocking them off increments of 1,000. We've got about 6,000, almost 300 so far. And over 930,000 views in just 22 weeks that we have been doing this. So again, thank you very much for supporting us. It all helps. And what it means is we continue to be able to provide this content for free. If you support us. If you like what you're looking at and what you're listening to, then tell somebody else about it. Leave us a comment as well. Feedback Friday comment corner is coming back. I promise you that. We'll start that again next week. Lachlan's been on holiday. And you know what young people are like on holiday. They come back from holiday and they need another holiday. On the program today, Greg Martin, former Wallabies fullback. Well, what a great magic round he had last weekend. Not. Dolphins lost, Broncos lost, and Reds lost. Reds got a massive game away. New South Wales Super Rugby this weekend. Miles Davis, blah, blah, blah. And we'll wrap up the Champions League amongst many other topics. It's going to be Italy versus France, Inter versus PSG. We start the show the same way every day.
Marty sermons brought to you by WebWonks. Generate online leads with WebWonks. Doctors for your Google data.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
Big bold prediction time? No, really, but it's time to call time, and I'm calling that the Warriors are going to make the 8. This is a done deal. Let us say it out loud right now. After 9 rounds, 8 matches played, when you look at the points table as it sits with the draw ahead, the Warriors are making it. Now, at the start of the season, I did say that alone should be considered a successful season, making the finals. Any improvement on that would be an excellent achievement. And yes, also, I will admit I did express my doubts. I was not at all confident in this squad being able to be consistent enough to collect enough wins. So I'm also happy to say I'm delighted to have been proved wrong. The Warriors are making the 8. It's now about whether they can settle into the top 6, maybe even maintain top 4. Since the 17th team was added to the comp and the buys increased, a 12-12 finish, 12 wins, 12 losses, 30 points. Well, it was good enough to make it last year. 13-11, 13 wins, 11 losses, follow me here, 32 points, good enough in 2023. So let's assume it's the higher total again this year and go for the 13-win, 32-point split. The Warriors right now are 6-2 on 14 points. That means another 7 wins are needed from the remaining 16 games. That's under 500 for a start. They have to win less than half of those 16 games. And in those 16 games, the club plays 10 against teams currently outside the 8. In fact, it's 11, but one of those teams is the Panthers. So I'll give that one to the Panthers. We play the Dragons twice, Titans twice, Dolphins twice. There's also the Rabbits, Knights and Eels. Now tell me, all of those games are not winnable. That's 9 games. Tell me the Warriors will not win at least 6 of those 9. You know, even 5 might be enough. 6 would mean a 12-12 finish. Pick up another win, any win, and it's 13-11 and it's finals football. So this isn't pie in the sky stuff. This isn't dreaming. These are odds-on fixtures to win. This is 100% reality staring you in the face. If the Warriors simply beat that bunch of scrubs, all teams they should beat because they are better than, then they make it. And no, of course, none of this will be easy, blah, blah. We all know that. I'm just talking about what should be done, winning the games that from here, looking at the points table form and everything else, that should be won. Mark it, book it, rack it, stack it, put it in the prize winner's packet. Lock it in, mate. The Warriors are making the 8.
Devlin.
Time to play one of your favourite games, Lachlan.
What has more chance of happening?
And this is where we go through the Super Rugby fixtures for the weekend and the NRL as well. Super Rugby round 13, NRL round 11. I present two scenarios to you. You tell me out of the two, what has more chance of happening? Yes! Kicking off Super Rugby Friday night, Drua home Blues in Suva. New South Wales playing the Reds the game after. So a 7:05 start followed by a 9:35 start. What has more chance of happening? The Drua beat the Blues or New South Wales beat the Reds?
The Drua beat the Blues, I think, has more chance of happening.
But now you've been all over the New South Wales side the whole season. They're a great side of this New South Wales.
I haven't said they're a great side. I've said they are a side with plenty of good players and a very good head coach.
And a good home record.
And they're a side that I think that you need to stop writing off.
I've already written them off.
I know. Well, you wrote them off ahead of that Chiefs game, which I got wrong. I keep bringing that up.
I got wrong. But I haven't got wrong after that. They've lost, 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5?
I just, it's, the Drua have a habit, obviously, of winning at home. It's not Lautoga, and Suva's supposedly an easier place to play.
They beat the Reds there, though, last weekend.
Yeah, the stats back it up. It's an easier place to play for the visiting teams, but they did beat the Reds last weekend. Of course, they beat it in the Chiefs in Fiji. So, at home, they're a different sort of side, so I'd back them. And the Blues, it's in their hands somewhat, but they beat a pretty average Force side, or a Force side that's gotten a little bit worse, it feels, as the year has gone on. The Blues, I don't think, have shown enough for us to sit here and act like they are a shoo-in for the top 6 and they're a dark. Like, the Canes are the new dark horse of Super Rugby this year, I think. The Blues aren't a sure bet to win this game at all.
What is more chance of happening then? Yes! New South Wales beat the Reds Friday night, 9:35 tomorrow night. Or the Chiefs go to Christchurch and beat the Crusaders Saturday, 7:05. There's only 4 fixtures, round 13 for Super Rugby. So, New South Wales beat Reds or Chiefs beat Crusaders. What is more chance of happening?
Waratahs beat Reds or Chiefs beat Crusaders. I don't know.
There's some meaningful fixtures this weekend, isn't there?
Yeah. I hate how they do this. I hate how there's only 4. Do 3 teams need to be buying one weekend? Do they need to do that? Surely they can work it out that it's just one team every weekend. This is a tough one because the Waratahs are a good side at home. And maybe I've got blue tinted glasses on. I think they're going to come right at some point. And when I say come right, win many games in a row, win home and away, beat good teams, beat bad teams, all that stuff. The Chiefs have Damian McKenzie back, which is a big in. But I think the Crusaders are the favourites for that game. So I'd lean towards saying the Waratahs will beat the Reds. But I'm looking at the home record and the fact the Reds have stumbled the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think there are big question marks about Rivers and whether or not he can actually...
No, I like Ray Hunter. I like him.
You do? Okay.
Well, he's good. He's very raw still. He's got a lot of developing. Isn't that interesting, though, that even though
Kamara is out, that they're still going to use O'Connor as the closer? That they're not actually going to use him and start the game with him. So they obviously don't think he's an 80-minute man.
Or do they like the steady head coming off the bench?
Yeah,
he has started a game this year. I think he started, I think it might have been the Reds game. Or he definitely started a game. I was looking at it this morning.
But he has been brought in rather and used.
There's obviously a structure to him coming off the bench.
No, definitely.
Steadying the ship that they quite like. Which, why would you interrupt that? Yeah. It's kind of like the whole... in rugby, when you have props and you've got your front row coming off the bench, when a guy, say, who's started gets injured, they won't bring a guy off the bench because they want to keep that front row intact that they bring on. They'll bring a guy from the reserves and throw him into the starting side. I think it's a similar thing.
All right. What is more chance of happening then? Yes! Chiefs beat Crusaders, Saturday 7:05, or Force home Brumbies. Force beat the Brumbies, Saturday 9:35.
Force won this game early this season
45-22, yeah.
Second round of the first half. Yep. It was the second round. Won some money on that game. I don't know. I think the Crusaders, I think they're going to beat the Chiefs pretty handily this weekend. And the Force, as much as it's tricky to play there, the Brumbies are far and away the best Australian side, so no.
Yes! NRL round 10 kicking off tonight. Eels versus Dolphins. What is more chance of happening? Eels beat the Dolphins, or tomorrow's first game, 8 o'clock, Titans go to Newcastle and win.
Eels beat Dolphins, or Titans beat Knights?
In Newcastle.
Dolphins, Titans beat Knights. Oh, jeez.
4 teams at the bottom end of the table.
I think form-wise, the Titans are the most disgusting team of the NRL
5 losses in a row.
And they've got some internal issues, it seems. There's been talk about they might even move on from Des Hasler sooner than the end of the season. They might do it beforehand. Dave Fifita could be out the door soon as well. No, I'd give the... but the Eels... No, I'd give the Eels more of a chance, than the Titans.
The Eels have lost 7 out of the last 8.
I'd give the Eels more of a chance.
Then the Titans?
They weren't too bad against Cronulla last week.
Okay, you've been saying that a lot. They're not too bad, but they're not winning
games.
games.
But there's such an inexperienced team when you look at not just the players but the coaches as well. The Eels they're trending towards something in a bigger picture, whereas the Titans are falling apart. Everywhere they are falling apart.
What is more chance of happening? Eels beat Dolphins tonight 9:50, or Rabbits beat your Broncos Friday 10 o'clock.
I've got a really bad feeling about this game against the Rabbitohs. Really bad feeling.
You were so confident a couple of weeks ago when you dicked the doggies and
well, no. Do you remember what I said to you? I said this.
You said it was a perfect half of rugby.
I said this before the Bulldogs game, and I reiterated it ahead of Magic Round. I said what's going to happen is the Broncos will beat the Bulldogs and then they'll lose to the Panthers.
Yeah, you did say that.
I said that.
Yep.
And that is what has happened.
What's
we
happened?
are the most hot and cold team in the NFL.
Well, now you're playing
NRL,
South Sydney, okay? And this is a Rabbit side which has lost their last 4.
It's a Rabbit side that's lost their last 4. It's a Rabbit side that will have Latrell back. It's a Rabbit side that has Jamie Humphries back in the half.
You've lost 3 of your last 4.
Yeah. It's a Rabbitoh side that's coached by Wayne Bennett, and it's a Rabbitoh side that I can't imagine would lack any enthusiasm in beating the Broncos. I think it's a bit of a soft rivalry between these two teams. It's not one of the big ones people talks about, but there's a bit to do with it. A lot of it to do with Wayne Bennett. Obviously coached the Broncos for a long time, 2 stints. So I give the Rabbitohs actually quite a good chance to win this game.
All right.
So I'd go with that.
What is more chance of happening? Your Rabbits beat the Broncos. Or,
my Rabbits.
The Rabbits beat your Broncos. Or the Raiders, Saturday 5 o'clock. There's 3 fantastic games on Saturday. Raiders beat the Bulldogs, Saturday 5 o'clock, or the Rabbits beat the Broncos.
I'm going to say Raiders beat the Bulldogs.
It's a Bulldogs side which has got some injuries and suspensions.
It's more suspensions than injuries. Just if they've got anyone, they'll have to roll out Matt Gunn.
And it's a Raiders side that's won 5 in a row. Second in the table.
Beat the
7
Storm
wins.
as well.
Yeah.
And the Storm looked like they were going to run away and put about 40 or 50 on them.
They hung tough, don't they? And they've done that in a lot of games. They've played a lot of games this year, the Raiders, where you think, oh, no, they're gone. And, either he yells and screams at half-time at them, or they just get a second wind or something goes on. And once they get it together, they really start piling points on. They pile points on in packages, don't they?
I would say the Raiders winning has more of a chance.
Well, what is more chance of happening? Raiders beat Bulldogs or Dragons beat Warriors? That's the second game up on Saturday, 7:30.
Yeah, I'd say Raiders beat Bulldogs. This is a tricky game for the Warriors, but they should be the favourites and they should win. So I'd say.
Why is it always a tricky game away the Dragons? Is it that ground, or is it? I always fear this Dragon side. I don't know why, because they're capable every now and again of playing really well.
Yeah, isn't it the Dragons and Manly that are 2 sides? I don't know because I'm not a Warriors fan, but. Aren't they 2 teams that the Warriors weirdly just don't do well against, Manly and the Dragons?
Well, Manly this year did 36-16 at home.
Yes, but in terms of their history.
Yeah, traditionally, yeah.
But the Dragons have a good coach and they've got some good players on their roster, and they are a team that last year should have made the top 8 and this year I think will be in the mix for it as well. When you get teams that are well coached, they're always going to be tough to break down and tough to beat, unless you're the Broncos. So I think there absolutely is a banana skin for the Warriors. And last year, do you remember when they played each other? The Warriors, I think that was they'd won they'd lost their first 2, then they won 3 in a row, and then they lost I think 3 or 4, or they lost 3 in 4, and that 4th being a draw. But one of those losses in that second batch was away to the Dragons, and they got just absolutely dominated. It was about 30-0 or 30-6. So, and this Dragon side hasn't changed too much, and the Warriors are a bit better, of course. But point is, the Dragons aren't an easy team to beat. I don't think. They have beaten the Storm this year.
Okay, all right. Well, what is more chance of happening? The Dragons beat the Warriors Saturday 7:30, or the game after? So these are your 3 games: Raiders, Dogs, Dragons, Warriors. Cowboys beat the Panthers at home 9:35 Saturday. Dragons beat Wars or Cowboys beat Panthers?
More chance. Cowboys beat Panthers, I think.
So you're favouring the Warriors now?
No, I think it's more chance the Cowboys beat the... Oh, well, I mean, define favouring. I think they're the favourites, the Warriors, and they should win, and unfortunately I'll be tipping them because I need to make up some ground at the tipping comp. The Cowboys, I don't know. I mean, the last... they're such a strange team, the Cowboys. The first half, they are appalling. The second half, they're superb. Well,
that's been their season. First half of the season, they're terrible. Second half of these last 7 or 8 games, they've come back. Yeah.
They have batches of games where they are just absolutely outstanding. They run teams off the park. Then they just will let in 3 or 4 tries without much resistance. They're so tricky. You know, we talk about the Raiders being this really strange up and down team all year. For many years, Brisbane seemed to be a real hot and cold team this year. The Cowboys do that within 80 minutes. It's just the most confusing thing. But as much as Penrith absolutely smacked up my Brisbane last week, I still don't think they are the polished, finished product to be able to go on a run. So I think they'll go through a period of winning some, losing some, and I could see this absolutely as a game that they just can't win.
Okay, we've got a couple to go.
It's hard to go up to Townsville. It's hard.
What is more chance happening? Finally, Sunday, the 2 games, 4 o'clock and 6:05. Tigers beat the Storm in Melbourne?
No, that's not happening.
Or
that is not
Manly
happening.
beat the Sharks?
No. Manly beat the Sharks, without a doubt. That is more chance of happening. The Tigers are still a developing young side, so going to Melbourne to beat Melbourne it's pretty much impossible. I don't think it's going to happen. And the Storm also, as we know, when they lose, they back up and win by quite a lot.
Okay, Sharks are 6th in the table. Manly is 7th at the moment. Sharks are 5-4. Manly are 4-4. Sharks last 4 games: win, win, loss, win. Manly's last 5 games: loss, 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 win, bye. Form would suggest the Sharks, but yeah, I think this is a local derby as well. Both these teams, they don't like each other, so.
Yeah, no, but you're back to the Tigers aren't beating the Storm, so you can give me any other result between the Sharks and the Sea Eagles, and I'd lean towards that than the Tigers beating the Storm. That's not happening at all.
What is more chance happening? Tigers beat the Storm, Dragons beat Warriors.
Dragons beat Warriors. Much more chance. For sure.
And you agree with me that the Warriors are in the 8. You've already agreed with. We started the show with that, and you already.
Oh no, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
No. You get all the 8 games. The one that is the strongest shoe-in, the biggest shoe-in, it's a size 18 shoe-in. It is the Storm beating the Tigers.
Okay.
Put money on it.
All right, let's
Seriously.
go through. And I've
Well, no,
said
the
to
odds
you
will be
about
terrible.
the Warriors. I started the show with this, and we'll briefly end with this. These are the Warriors fixtures from here on in, right? Home and away, whatever. Dragons, Dolphins, Raiders, Rabbits, Sharks.
Say whatever.
Panthers, Broncos, Tigers, Knights, Titans, Dolphins, Bulldogs, Dragons, Titans, Eels, Manly. 11 of 16 games are against sides outside the top 8. One of those 11 is against the Panthers. If the Warriors beat the teams they should beat, they're home and host. Right?
Okay. Yes, you've got to put a big fat asterisk next to what you just said. The teams they should beat.
Should beat.
When has the NRL ever been a competition where what should happen does happen? When it comes to that middle bunch of teams. I'm not talking about the top 2 or 3 and the bottom 2 or 3. I'm talking about that middle bunch, okay? Last year was a great example of what we predicted pre-season. We'll tear it up and throw it out. None of that happened. No one expected Brisbane and the Warriors to miss the top 8, for example, last year. No one expected the Bulldogs to be as good as they were. This year, similar things are happening. The Raiders, I didn't think would be in the top 8. I thought they'd fall away. And look, they're probably the form team of the comp, aren't they? It's them and the Warriors. They're the 2 form teams of the comp. Anyway, point is, talk about games that a team should win. There are games that the Warriors have that are certainties. They've got 2 against the Titans. My goodness, that's easy. You've got the Tigers at home, which there's games like that 80% chance they win.
So that's all I'm saying. If they win the games, they should win. Yeah.
Well, but define should.
Should
because they've got 2 against the Dolphins, and I'd say the away game, the Dolphins, the one that the Dolphins have at home, they should be favoured over the Warriors. The one at Mount Smart, the Warriors obviously will be favoured. So how do you view those 2 fixtures?
I'm viewing them both as locks. I'm saying that the Warriors win out of the next. I'd say the Warriors winning at least 9 out of the next 16.
What are you, 6-2?
Yeah.
You've looked good. Well done. Round of applause. Well done, Warriors. But steady on, okay? Don't sit there and say that going to the Dolphins, playing away the Dolphins, for example, who have a lot of points in them, who totally blitzed the Storm a few weeks ago, you can't call that a lock.
We'll just mark the moment. It was today, May the 8th, that I confidently predicted the Warriors will make the 8.
Well, they're 6-2. It's not a bold pick.
There is that aspect.
This is the DSPN.